arms, legs. What about this pathway through here? Where does that go? It's all my internal stuff. So it's all my internal viscera. So heart, lung, liver, spleen, gallbladder, again, all those same things. Internal viscera. So those are my three paths I get to pick after I leave my spinal cord. I can go to my back, I can go to my front, I can go to my inside, right? So front, back, inside thing. Okay, then we tried to draw for you yesterday some pathways, like showing you like where the neurons went and how they sort of worked out and all that good stuff. So what I want you to know right now sort of thing is like, where does that go to? Where does that go to? Where does this go to? We named these two things here too, right? My rami communicantes. This side is actually the white side, and this side was the gray side over here. So I have a white rami communicantes and a gray rami communicantes. Okay, so we got that. What about this here? My posterior gray horn does what for me? What does it collect? All sensory information, right? Because the only one that's on my back side is this one. So it does all sensory. All sensory. I have two for my motors. I have a lateral gray horn and an anterior gray horn. They both do motor commands. I have a somatic motor and I have a visceral motor. So I have to like pick and choose which one would be my visceral motor, do you think? It's this one, visceral motor. So any command, any signal that goes to my inside over here for like lung, liver, spleen, gallbladder, whatever, any command that would go to like arms and legs for like glands and blood vessels, whatever, right? All those things. Anything that's autonomic, cardiac muscle, smooth muscle, glands, has to come from here. What's my anterior gray horn good for then? Skeletal muscle, and that's it. It only does one thing. It only generates commands to my skeletal muscles. So who have I lost so far? Like a lot of people or just like a couple people?
You never had me.
Just got one creeper? Okay. All right. So let's go through it and like we'll do it like a little bit better and sort of figure it out and see what we're going to do. And so that's sort of like sometime, right? Like 15 minutes. So okay. So let's go ahead and do it up sort of thing here for you. I'll draw that bigger over here so it can make more sense. You can sort of follow it and go from there. Okay, so I'm going to like redraw this for you. So don't freak out. Don't freak out yet. Anyone freaking out yet? Just a little bit, maybe. We're kind of. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, let's do it this way. I want to go to a skeletal muscle. Okay, I got that going on. So I want to send a signal from my brain to that skeletal muscle. How many neurons in my somatic motor pathway then? Two. Okay, that's a good start, right? We're talking about somatic motor. So again, somatic motor has to do with skeletal muscle. So somatic motor. Skeletal muscle only. Okay. So two. One's up in my brain from my pre-central gyrus. That's where we're going to start from. Comes all the way down my spinal cord. Down to over here somewhere, right? Hooks on to neuron number 2. And from there I go to my little skeletal muscle. Just like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. This one I got here is called my upper motor neuron. Because it's on top, right? So upper motor neuron. The bottom one, the lower one, is called the lower motor neuron. Okay, that's pretty good. So I drew it this way. Now let's draw it the other way. Sort of like this thing over here. Same thing, right? Still coming off my spinal cord over here. And I have, let me divide it this way if you'd like to, over here. Got my posterior gray horn, that, and that over here. So here's my anterior gray horn, lateral gray horn, posterior gray horn. We'll draw the crazy stuff in here too for you. here, there sort of thing, like up and over, goes down, here, that's going on, and that sort of thing, just like that one there. Okay. Let's say that I have that skeletal muscle is in my hand, so I want to like move my fingers to like do something or whatever. So I'm sending a signal from my brain, down my spinal cord, out my cord, through a nerve to my hand over here. So let's see the pathway that looks over here. So same thing. So we start from the cord, right? Here's my cord, right there. Same thing right over here. So where do I need to start from for that little neuron? I have to pick. It's a motor neuron, right? So yeah, anterior gray horn, so right there. So that little neuron is that neuron right there. It's like a little different view for you. So that one's this one. All right, so where do I go from here? Through my ventral roots, because my ventral root is all my motor stuff. And I'm going to my hand.
You're going to go into the bottom here.
Yeah, remember this is what I got here? This is my ventral, here's my ventral ramus. We said, yeah, if I go to my ventral ramus, that's hands, legs, arms, feet, all that stuff. So yes, I just go from here, and I go all the way down to my little skeletal muscle. And just like that. Pretty easy, right? What if I want to send a signal to my back, to some skeletal muscle on my back? Same thing, right? I leave from my anterior gray horn. I go through my ventral ramus, and let's go ahead and go this way, and go to my back, right to my dorsal ramus over here. On that side. How's that looking for you? Pretty okay? Let's say I want to receive information back about a joint in my wrist. So now I have some sensor information going backwards to my brain, so I can sort of figure out like where my body is in space, that sort of thing. So where do I need to start from or go from or whatever I need to do here? Just looking at that way.
To your dorsal root, to your PGA.
I will. So if I'm coming from my hand, I'm coming up through this one, right? So I have to come up this way. So now I'm coming this way. Good job there. You're saying, yep, come this way. Dorsal roots, because that's where all my sensory is on the back side here. So I do have to come this way. And I just dump it off right there. So that's the sensory pathway. It's coming this way. So sensory in the back, and then motor in the front, sort of thing. Okay, for that stuff, maybe? That's the easy stuff, right? The somatic motor stuff is the easy stuff. The visceral motor is where it gets like a little weird. Again, I only need one neuron from the cord to that organ. Anything else for like my visceral stuff, I have to have two, correct? So here's my first one. There's my second one, going to wherever I go to, like a heart or something over here. So I have to have my preganglionic one and my postganglionic. And I got to have a ganglia as well to go ahead and synapse that one too. So let's do this pathway then. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this other stuff because this sort of clogs everything up here. I'll get rid of that, and get rid of this. Just make it a little bit easier here to follow. Alrighty, so let's go to my heart. Gotta go to my heart. Alright, so I want to send a signal from my spinal cord right to my heart right over here. Where do I need to start from? So now I'm going to cut my cord right through here. Right, look at this one. So where do I need to start from? My lateral gray horn. My lateral gray horn does all of my visceral stuff, all my visceral motor stuff. So a little cell body here. Going through my ventral root, same thing. I'm going to my heart, so that's arms, legs, chest, that's my back, so I can't go either of those. You gotta go this way. This is where all my internal stuff is, right? Over here. So we're going to make my first left-hand turn. I'm coming down through here. I'm coming, and I need to find a ganglia, right? I have to have my ganglia right there. So here's my little ganglia, same little one right here, just like that. So I come down here, I hook on to neuron number 2, and I continue, and I go to my heart, just like that. So this is my preganglionic neuron, because it's before the ganglia. This one's my postganglionic neuron, because it's after it. My pre is myelinated, so it's white, and actually it travels through my white rami on this side, because white and white goes together. Here's my postganglionic. It's unmyelinated, and it's this gray. Does that make any better sense from yesterday? Maybe a little bit. Don't know, sort of, kind of. So that's not bad, right? So now if I'm synapsing in a sympathetic chain, I'm going to my thoracic cavity. That's okay. What else can I do? Let's do a signal to a sweat gland in my hand. So I do a signal to a sweat gland in my hand.